All right. Good afternoon and a warm welcome to everyone. So this is a freshman welcome session for chemical engineering students. So in case you're from other department, you shouldn't be here then. All right. So this is a program outline for today. First and foremost, there will be a welcome message by the head of department, Prof. Saif, followed by the department academic briefing by Dr. Suraj, who will tell you a little bit more about our program and what it entails. After which, there will be an introduction to a new minor that our department is offering, minor in hydrogen and low carbon technology by Prof. Yen Ning. After which, we have a special guest, Ms. Shirlene Ong, she's the chemical engineering career advisor from the Center for Future Ready Graduates, who will share with you a little bit more about what are the resources that you can tap on, things like CV writing, soft skills learning, etc. This will help you become a more outstanding graduate by the time you finish your program over here. Last but not least, I will cover a little bit more about the course registration briefing. So without further much ado, let us welcome Prof. Saif, our head of department.
This is fine. Good afternoon, everybody. It's wonderful to see a lot of folks here. How many were here for the orientation? Show of hands. Not the admin staff. Yes, show of hands. All right. Yeah, I recognize some folks, both from the outreach events, but also from the orientation program. So again, a very warm welcome to university life, actually, right? So this is an important part of your lives. Now, I've been given 5 minutes to give some sort of a welcome speech. So I thought maybe I'll spend those 5 minutes giving you a few thoughts, right, on what I think the 4 years ahead hold for you, and perhaps some advice on how you should use the 4 years, the opportunities in those 4 years ahead of you, right? So for those who attended the orientation program, apologies, you'll see some of my remarks are repeated, but that was a longer address. So I think, firstly, right, it's a very exciting time to be an engineer today, 2025. There's a lot of challenges, global challenges that engineering can address. And chemical engineering is actually front and center of a lot of challenges, whether it's energy, whether it's healthcare, whether it's water. So to be a chemical engineer at the end of your 4-year journey will allow you access to the understanding of problems that are global in scale, will allow you to also understand how to solve those problems. And maybe if you're not the only one needed, you'll know who to ask to team up with you to solve those problems. So it's really an amazing time to actually study engineering. So to me, right, the question is, so what do you do for the next 4 years? How do you use those 4 years? And I think this is an important one. Every generation, guys, that comes into university has its own challenges. So I've been at NUS for almost 20 years now, right? So I've seen student batches coming in from the mid-2000s to today, you guys. And you know, every batch has its challenges. Every group of batches has its challenges. The defining challenge of your generation, I contend, is how you will utilize your time in an atmosphere of rapid change. Okay? And here, I think it's important to sort of meditate on that a little bit. So, time. How will you use your time? There's two related things that I want to say. So the first thing is, right, the experience of being in university, the process of going through university has intrinsic value, regardless of outcomes. Outcomes meaning grades, necessarily grades, jobs, salaries, etc. There is intrinsic value to the process of going through university. Intrinsic value to the process of taking classes and expanding intellectually. Thus far in your lives, it's like this. You've been on a train track, right? A fairly well-defined train track where every station is mapped out. A lot of things are accessible, told to you. You're guided and shepherded along that train track. Now that train track kind of ends, or in a way that train track bifurcates into hundreds of possibilities. And so what you will see is that the very structured life you guys led up to this point now transitions into an unstructured sort of system. Not completely, right? Of course, you're in a course. You're in chemical engineering. You will be taking core classes, minors, etc. But the possibilities are bigger. The space of possibilities is bigger, right? So the process of just going through this journey itself has intrinsic value, and I think we lose sight of that. The defining challenge of your generation is differentiating outcomes from process. And I'm a chemical engineer, so I talk about processes all the time. Process, inputs, outputs, right? The process is really important. The experiences, the actual rigor of going through modules, struggling with new ideas, discussing with friends, trying to learn new things, independent of outcomes, independent of exams, independent of jobs, etc., is itself of intrinsic value. And it's going to be of more and more value as the world outside rapidly changes. The reason I say this is because the second defining challenge of your generation is how you are going to contend with the digital tools that are out there, right? So you live in a world of artificial intelligence. I grew up, when I was doing my undergrad, I grew up in a world which was barely internet capable. But now you guys are living in a world of artificial intelligence. However, therefore, the defining challenge of your generation is how are you going to interact with that world outside, right? So there is an ideal way in which you can interact, and then there is a non-ideal way. So this is where I emphasize the process of going through university and the rigor of actually going through modules, trying to learn content on your own, independent of anything that will help you. Right? So artificial intelligence models are extremely good at giving you answers, outputs. But what your generation risks, if you lean too much on that front, is to not go through the process of learning. And what that will do is it will lead to cognitive decay, or not even, it will not allow you to develop intellectually as much as you possibly can. University is a time where your minds expand in a way that was not possible during your school years. So use that time, the 4 years that you have, these are amazing 4 years, to actually expand intellectually. So how you use your time and how you experience this process of university will be an important defining challenge for you, right? Don't think only of outcomes, and also use digital tools in a way that don't just lean on them to give you outcomes again, because the process is lost. That's, I think, if I were to advise you about something, and again, I will see you in week 1, right? I'm teaching year 1 chemical engineering principles. I'll see you in year 2 when I teach you reactor design, and we'll think about these matters a lot more, right? But right at the outset, right, make a conscious decision that you are going to spend the time, regardless of the outcomes, to actually learn new things. Expand your minds, regardless of outcomes. The outcomes will come actually later. If you actually realize the full potential that you are capable of, outcomes come later, man. Good grades, good jobs, that comes. So that's my one simple, humble advice. It's abstract. I know it comes from an old guy, and it's abstract, and might not be, but I'm very happy to actually talk with you guys through the years about any such challenges that you may have. And you know what? All generations have their challenges. So I think in terms of what is ahead of you, it's really exciting. There's so many interesting subjects you'll learn, and all the subjects are not easy, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing, because you'll learn new things, and with those new things, you'll be able to do almost like superpowers, right? Like you can look at some venture capitalist who's proposing a solution for carbon capture or for climate change, and as a chemical engineer, you will have the intellectual depth to go, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Don't invest in that. As a chemical engineer, I can tell you that that's just nonsense, right? That's the kind of mind expansion that you can expect in the course. It's really, really exciting. It's exciting when you put in that time. You put in that time, put in the rigor to actually explore the depths of the interesting subjects that you will study, right? So that would be my one advice to you, is don't excessively focus on the outcomes, focus on the process, enjoy your time. It will not be easy, and that's the point, right? So with that, there's a really amazing program. You'll get a lot of little bits of insight onto different things in your journey here. And I really look forward to actually teaching all of you guys through the years. And welcome to NUS Chemical Engineering. It's the start of a new journey. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Suraj. I'm a senior lecturer in the department. So what I'm going to do now is share about the curriculum. Let's see. So you must be wondering what's in store for you in the next 4 years or 3 years of your time in the department. So that's basically what I'm going to cover here. So you see that this is a broad overview of the curriculum. These are the different pillars that you'll be taking. You have the common curriculum in the chemical engineering. So that is all here, the big chunk here. And then you do have some general education. And then finally you have the exciting part, which is the unrestricted electives. And you see that for the chemical engineering major, it's all those yellow courses, starting from year 1, which Prof. Khan just mentioned, the engineering principles and practices in semester 1, and then you have one in semester 2. And then you go on to do all the basic courses in year 2, material and energy balance, thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, followed by reaction engineering, heat and mass transfer, and fundamentals of biomolecular engineering. Then at the same time, you will be doing some of the common courses. Basically, these are to prepare you for the 21st century workplace, to give you all the broad set of skill sets. And that's where all this comes in: design thinking, project management, makerspace, as well as some of the common engineering core like modeling and simulation, which are basically your maths courses. And at the same time, you will start doing some of these general education courses as well, which the more detailed program is given on the subsequent slide. And then you go on to year 3, you learn more advanced things like separation processes, process simulation, and machine learning. And then at the same time, you will again have some common engineering core, which is engineering professionalism. And you will also spend, for those on the 4-year track, you will spend a semester on industrial attachment. So basically, you will spend time in one of the several companies that we have tie-ups with. And then you will just get the flavor of what working in the industry is like. And that actually helps you prepare for your future career as well. Then go on, you have got in year 4, process control safety. And you start off with labs. You also end off with the chemical engineering lab. And then, of course, you have got the year-long final year design project, which I'll talk about it soon. So that is the broad overview for the curriculum in the chemical engineering major. So with this curriculum now, where you saw that you have some common courses, you have some chemical engineering core courses, and then the unrestricted electives. So the unrestricted electives actually lets you plan for your diverse career paths. Just some of the examples are given here. It doesn't mean that it's only restricted to these few parts here. You can plan what you want to do. So you have got many minors, you have got second majors, you've got at least 4 specializations that you can consider. So some of the examples given here, like the classic one will be the one in the center. That's why it's in the center. You are in the chemical engineering program. So the classic role that a lot of our graduates go into is process engineer. So then what you can do is you can plan for a specialization in process systems engineering, which is taken up by your unrestricted electives that you have 10 of them, 10 of them, and out of that 5 you will be using for this specialization. And then, of course, you can complement it by taking other technical electives we have got a lot of technical electives that you can choose from. You can just take some others to complement it. And not necessarily just technical electives, you could also take courses from other faculties as well, under the unrestricted electives. Another career path which a lot of our recent graduates go into is pharmaceutical industry. Then what you could do is you could do a specialization in biopharmaceutical engineering offered by our department, where you again need to take 5 courses to get this specialization, and you can complement it with a minor in pharmaceutical science. And then semiconductor is another major sector. So for that, you could either take a specialization in safety and sustainability, but then that's where I said this is not restrictive. You could still take a process systems engineering specialization and go on to semicon. So that's what a lot of the students do as well. So some of this can be mixed around as well. And of course, you can consider a minor in electronic materials, for example. That's just an example. And again, you have got, if you want to go into commodities, you can do 2 minors, data analytics and econs. And some of our students do this second major in innovation and design. So they go into entrepreneurship. Again, continuing further, 5 to 10% of our students end up in financial services. So what you could do is you could consider a second major in econs. You also have got some double degree programs that you can consider. That is, one is the French double degree, and then you have got the double degree with College of Humanities and Sciences. And of course, if you want to go to consultancy, then we also have a specialization, Industry 4.0, offered by electrical engineering, which our students can take as well. And then you can complement it with other technical electives. Again, these are just some possibilities. It's up to you to plan. There's actually this graduation roadmap document which you will find in student intranet. You can actually use that to plan what are the courses you want to take in the different semesters, such that you graduate on time. With this now, the next thing is just to quickly share what are the different career paths that are open for you as a chemical engineering undergrad. Of course, you have got all these traditional sectors, oil and gas, petrochemicals. And then you've got the more popular ones now is pharmaceuticals and semiconductors, but you can also go into consumer products, consultancy, and financial services. And what kind of roles our graduates go into based on the data we have collected over the years? It's basically engineering, research and development, health, safety and environment, sales and marketing, oil and commodity trading, and business management. So you see the roles are quite diverse, and if you look at the companies, there are so many of them here, just some of them are highlighted. I'll just go through the different sectors. So you've got oil and gas, petrochemical, the intermediates, specialty chemicals, food and consumer goods, continuing with semiconductor, electronics, biopharmaceutical, biomedical as well, engineering consultancy, and research institutes. So these are the classic companies, a lot of them that you see there, which our graduates have been joining over the years. So most probably you will end up working under some of our former alumni once you graduate. Okay, this is the recommended schedule. So just now earlier what I showed you is the different pillars. So this is the exact list of courses that you'll be taking. And so semester 1 and 2, the red ones are all the core chemical engineering courses that you'll be taking. And then the rest are the common courses as well as common engineering courses that you'll be taking. So you start off with some of this. I don't think I have to go through in detail. So you can just see over here. Semester 1 and 2, where you also have some of the maths courses that you'll be taking. So basically to refresh some of your maths from your A-level or O-level that you've learned in the past for the poly students. Next is semester 3 and 4, where you will be still taking some of these general courses like livable cities and introduction to machine learning. But then you'll be taking more of the chemical engineering courses, so thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, reaction engineering, and so on. So for the first 2 years, it's more or less, this is the sequence of courses that you'll be taking. You can change a bit, but in general, it's not recommended to change too much. It's recommended to follow. Of course, we have got the UG team who can advise you, Ms. Jasmine, Mr. Chun, and Ms. Ng. So if you have any queries related to planning your courses for the different semesters, you can always approach them. Then semester 5 and 6, you need to be careful because that's where your industrial attachment comes in, and some of you also go for exchange. So then you have to carefully plan your courses. And your industrial attachment is either in 5 or 6. So these 2 semesters can be swapped. That means these courses are offered in both the semesters. And then you'll be taking in the respective semester, depending on which semester you went for industrial attachment. So machine learning, computer-aided process simulation, and separation processes will be offered in both the semesters for you to take. And then, of course, you'll still be doing industrial professionalism and then start clearing all your unrestricted electives, which you can, as I said, you can plan what you want to take. You will get a better idea probably after year 1 or when you're in year 2, like what you want to do in your future. So that's when you can start planning what you want to take under the unrestricted electives. For final year, you've got the design project over 2 semesters. One thing you need to take note is if you want to graduate on time, the design project has to be done in sequence, semester 1 and semester 2. So you can't start off with semester 2 and then go on to do semester 1 in the subsequent academic year. No, you have to start in semester 1 and end it in semester 2. So this one is fixed. The design project has to be done in semester 7 and 8. For the poly students, it's the semester 5 and 6 for those under the 3-year program. So please do take note of that. You do not want to delay your graduation, and then you should also clear all the prerequisites that are needed for the design project. Then you also got process control safety and the chemical engineering lab, and then you can continue taking all your unrestricted electives as well in your year 4. So the internship requirement is here. So basically, most of you will go for the semester-long industrial attachment, which is for 20 weeks, and it comprises of 10 units out of the 160 needed for graduation. You can take up to 20 units of credit-bearing internships, and then these are the different courses that are considered under internship. So you've got the vacation internship program, which is 10 weeks, 4 units. Vacation industrial attachment, 12 weeks for 6 units. And then you could also, those who are more oriented towards research, you can take this undergraduate research opportunities program or the research experience. You can actually check the website, all details. I think Mr. Chun will share later, the intranet. So that's where you can look up for all these details. Next is, this one I think I already mentioned. So design project has to be taken. I'm one of the coordinators, by the way. So it has to be taken in sequence, semester 1 and 2. So please be very careful, especially those who go for exchange as well. Make sure you have cleared all the relevant courses that are needed for design project. Either you clear them during exchange or you clear before you go for exchange. So that is very important, and that's part 1 and 2 need to be taken in sequence. Next is just the last part is just more on the specializations. By now, I think you already got the hang of it. There are 3 specializations that are offered by our department: process systems engineering, biopharmaceutical engineering, and safety and sustainability. Actually, I will come in year 2 in one of your classes to give a more detailed briefing on specializations, so that after that you can decide which one you want to take. And then Prof. Yanning is going to talk about this minor, hydrogen, and low carbon technology next. So we will be looking at that as well. And for specialization and minor, you need to take 20 units. That means 5 courses are needed to complete a specialization or a minor. And 8 units can be double counted. If you want to take a second major, like the innovation and design, you saw it was the complete block because you need to take all 40 units, 10 courses that goes in towards your second major. I think that's about it that I have. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask me later. Now I will pass on the time to Prof. Yanning to talk about the minor. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, warm welcome. I'm Yanning, certainly a faculty in chemical engineering. I'm also currently taking care of a center, the Center for Hydrogen Innovation, which is a national platform to drive hydrogen and low carbon innovations. Today I'm going to introduce hydrogen and low carbon technology as a minor program. This is the first minor program hosted in our department, the chemical engineering. So the first question, why hydrogen low carbon and why now? Why hydrogen and low carbon? Because sooner or later, inevitably, our society has to go onto that path. Of course, in the short term, you will look at 3 years, 4 years, there may be up and down. Now, in the next year or so, you may see increased use of petroleum, but in the longer term, it is my firm belief that the renewables will win. It's like if you do any investment in the US stock market, if you look at 2-3 years, it's up and down. But if you look any 30 years, 40 years, any 30, 40 years in the past 100 years, it's always going up tremendously. But that's the timeline you guys should look at, because that's the timeline of your life, of your career span. If we narrow down to Singapore, then the path is even more clearer. A few years back, the government has announced Singapore's 2050 net zero plan. So it's a strong commitment. And we know in Singapore, once that commitment is made, the government is doing seriously a lot of efforts trying to achieve that target. So it's not only a long-term plan by 2050, but the government has really every 5-year plan. So by 2030, we have to reach certain goal. By 2035, we have to reach certain goal. These are published. So along this line, we can imagine there will be a growing demand for hydrogen and low-carbon experts, and that's the reason we believe it's the right time, and the chemical engineering department is the right place to host, to launch this minor program. This program should be able to open some opportunities for the students enrolled, and naturally, the students will be able to explore one of the fastest growing global sectors, that is renewable energy, and there is chance to work with experts and innovators, and it is a cross-department, cross-disciplining subject. As you can imagine, chemical engineering cannot solve all the problems. We need mechanical engineering, we need materials engineering, we even need some electrical engineering knowledges to work together to solve the problem. And all together, we hope it will be able to boost the future career of the students enrolled in the program, and I will come back to this point later. How to gain this program? How can you finish? It's very simple. It's 20 units, and this program comprises of 3 core courses and 2 elective courses. For the 3 core courses, that includes 2 existing modules for chemical engineering. One is the Chemical Engineering Fundamental, 1101, and also a Year 2 module, Material and Energy Balance, because we believe these are really foundational knowledges that are needed for any energy in conventional energy sectors as well as future sustainable energy sectors. And then the last core module is a specific one. It's a new module that is going to be offered in the coming year. That is hydrogen and low carbon technologies industry perspectives. This, we would like to emphasize industry. This module is entirely given by experts from more than 10 companies, leading companies in the energy sector. And all the major ones you can imagine that have presence in Singapore, we have approached them, we have invited experts. So when you guys have already gained fundamental knowledge, then in year 4, you will be able to have zero-distance interaction with these experts to see how energy transition is going to happen in Singapore and beyond. Then there will be 2 electives in this basket. I don't have to go through the list, but later you can check if you have interest. It's on the website. To finish the program, it is flexible. Here we have just one, not even recommendation, I would say illustration of how can you do it. It's just a Lego. You need 5 pieces, you piece them together before you graduate, and then you can claim this minor program. One such example is before year 2, you can already finish CN 1101 as well as CN 2103. You will have to finish this anyway. And then in year 3, we recommend 1 elective course, and then year 4, 1 more elective, as well as the other core module, the industry perspective for hydrogen and low carbon technology. Of course, you can play with these available modules in the basket and plan your own pathway. Knowledge game. Of course, first and foremost, technologies in the hydrogen and low carbon space, certainly. And beyond that, we will also emphasize this minor program will be able to introduce some safety aspects. We know hydrogen is one of the most dangerous gas, flammable and explosive. So inevitably, we will introduce safety aspects which can be used beyond hydrogen itself. Then engineering core knowledge, industry and research connections, interdisciplinary teamwork, and the last one is under planning. Already a few companies has expressed interest to support this minor program. So we are working together to establish study awards and networking opportunity. Networking opportunity means either some internship in this company or the company we're going to sponsor conference overseas. So you will go to some of these hydrogen or low carbon conferences. It's not finalized yet because we don't know how many students are interested. Once we know a rough number in about half a year time, then we'll go back to make this solid. So a decent percentage of students enrolled in this program will be benefited by these opportunities. One of the last slide here, we believe it will unlock some of the future pathway. Very clearly, green jobs, clean tech roles, as well as R&D future studies. These are very obvious. New jobs will be open in these sectors, and because it's an emerging area, a lot of research activities are in this area as well. So these two are very obvious. Then there are two less obvious areas, but still relevant to our chemical engineering students in the sector of policy and government, as well as finance and investment. Based on our department survey, we do have a certain percentage of students after graduation working in the finance sector. And that percentage may be growing over the years. And my neighbor is a banker. He always asks me about the latest advances in carbon tax, in carbon credits, because in his investment portfolio, actually more and more is going into this sector under green finance and investment. So the knowledge will be useful too. When we planned this minor program, we have consulted a lot of agencies and companies. We received a strong endorsement. It's a long list. Here we just provided a few from Temasek, from Chevron, from EDF. Temasek actually co-founded the Center for Hydrogen Innovation in NUS. That reflects their belief, their vision in this sector in the longer term. And also Chevron is supportive. Then EDF says the graduates should be highly employable in related area. And this is the last slide. Some more details about this minor program. This is an open manual, which means no separate application, no host department approval. It's a really self-initiated process. The application is simple. You just need to declare the minor in your academic plan, declaration exercise, APIT, before the 5th semester, which means you can make your decision to start the journey before year 3. And finally, this is particularly relevant for our students in chemical engineering. You may double count up to 8 units with your major, and you can also apply SU options for over 1,000 and 2,000 courses. With that, I would like to end my briefing here. And if there's any quick question, I will be happy to address. And thank you very much.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Shalin. I'm from the Center for Future Ready Graduates and I'm a career advisor. So just to start off with, within 1 hour, this is the 4th welcome you're hearing, but still, warm welcome to NUS, CDE, to ChemEng. It's the start of many acronyms, but don't worry, you'll get the hang of it. So I think I really wanted to start off with an activity, but I will just go straight and do it in a slightly separate way. Okay, so instead of the QR codes, right, can I have all of you to stand? Freshmen? Just take a stand. You sit for almost 1 hour already, right? Okay, good. So we take a stand, right, stretch a little bit. Okay, so just some quick questions, okay, for you to be a bit active lah. Okay, active is healthy. Okay, so those of you who are standing, great. Many freshmen here. Okay, so take a seat if you are from junior college. Okay. So most of you, take a seat if you are from Polytechnic. Okay, thank you very much. And the rest of you can take a seat. Then fresh questions. So again, may we all stand. So we understand about maybe 80% of you, approximately, from JC, right? A couple more in polytechnics, and some maybe international schools or schools outside of Singapore. So for the next question, originally I had one that said, what are you in university for? But I think Prof. Saif have very nicely put in some words that I hope you understand and really take it with you. So I will jump to a second question. Take a seat if you have not started thinking beyond university. Okay. Take a seat if you kind of know what you want to do, but you're not entirely sure. Okay. And then perhaps the rest of you more or less know what you want to do. Thank you very much. Take a seat. So thank you for your participation. Now the reason for doing this is, I think, for also me to have a rough understanding why you are kind of here and whether you have started thinking beyond graduation. Because outcomes, right, process, very much relevant for ChemEng. But when you also have the goal in mind, it makes your processes a lot easier and maybe more intentional for you to get your way towards eventually what happens after university. So again, maybe take this as a bit of recap of what you have learned from the 3 different professors and lecturers that you have heard. Anyone can just shout out what are some of the industries, your alumni, right, those who have graduated, where did they go? Okay, I'll give you the easy ones, okay, obviously. Okay, I just skip the easy answers for you. So most of your seniors, right, they went into semiconductors, chemical, oil and gas, pharmaceutical and biological productions. So this is the easy answer, right? Okay, but where else? Huh? Shout. It's okay, don't be shy. Any answers? Where do you think your alumni have gone to? Financial, okay, yes. I think it's been mentioned at least 3 times now. Very good, you got it. Where else? I see there's like a huge, like you're trying to control yourself really hard, but why not? Share with me. What do you think your alumni have been to? Yeah, so shy. Okay, regardless, I think most of you have some answers in your hearts. Some adjacent similar roles. R&D, yes, of course. Aerospace, air transport, right? And also medical and precision instruments, and also the public sector. Right, so these are, maybe I'll consider it one step adjacent to very common chemical engineering sectors. R&D is still very close though. So what else has been mentioned? And I also want to share with you, your seniors have gone to these places, right? Healthcare, finance, business consultancy, management consultancy, legal, accounting and auditing, and even logistics and supply chain management. Now again, these are just a couple that I handpicked off data that we receive from graduates, but there is many, many more that your seniors have gone to. So really the question to ask yourself is this: that where would you like to be, right? Eventually, somewhere along your 3 to 4 years, you will ask yourself these questions. What kind of roles do you want to take up? What kind of companies do you want to join? What kind of industry do you want to be a part of? And actually, I would throw in one more question. What kind of problems would you like to solve? Or would you like to be a part of? Right? And hence, I think the new minor definitely very relevant in today's times, all the more so important. So, all these things, and there's not one specific answer, right? Clearly, even at year 1, you are trying to see different things. Some of you, those of you who are very certain you have one straight answer, okay, we can work with that. Although your plans might change too. Right? You might think you really want something, then down the line you are like, oh, but then there's that. Oh, but hey, I can do that too. And then what does that mean, right? So something that we unfortunately still hear is your year 4 seniors saying they wish they started earlier. Career planning does not start at year 4. It starts as early as, it should have started yesterday lah. But okay, yesterday is over, right? So next best time is today. We start thinking about your own career journeys, about how you want to make best use. Right? I think Prof. Saif talked about process. These 4 years, how are you going to use it? So a little bit of introductions, right? I'm from a department called the Center for Future Ready Graduates, where we are here to support you all the way from day one through to after you graduate from university to prepare you really with critical life and employability skills. What we do in NUS is not meant to stay in NUS. It's meant to be for life. It's lifelong. And we don't want you to just be employable. We want you to be highly employable, highly desired. Right? These are outcomes we want for our students. Now the world today is very different. 4 years ago, a lot of things were different. We were just recovering from COVID, right? When we were just recovering, then there was some tech boom. After that, some bubble kind of burst. Now we have wars happening in different parts of the planet. So who knows what happens 4 years later or 3 years later? So you need to be able to navigate through these kind of uncertainties and be resilient enough so that you are still highly employable despite everything that happens. And with that, we are here for you by being with you through every step of your career journey. From just exploring, understanding, all the way to planning your route to where you want to be. So here is a little bit of a roadmap. So at CFG, right, we have kind of like a little guide of how we would like to support you. Does not mean that this is black and white, you must complete all this, no. But what I would like to share is that we have various things from courses, events, activities and all that, and we have some kind of little bit of support in case you feel like, okay, how should I start? Really, where should I start from? Then we look at year one, right? All of you, regardless if you're poly or GC intake, really try to discover a little bit more, because the world outside is so vast and changes so quickly. What you know today and what you know 4 years later can be so different. So start looking, start having conversations with all of us. What I also then go on to do, I will just breeze through the different things that you can get to do with us at CFG. So here it goes, I need to take a very deep breath. Okay, first up, Career Foundational course. This is a unit-bearing course that's just 6 weeks long. Your regular academic semester is 13 weeks. This is only half a sem long. Very easy, 2 units, pass-fail. The reason why we do this is because we want you to be able to take the essence and move beyond university. Okay? Other things, anyone likes to go overseas? I think many students do. So if you do clear CFG 1002, you are also eligible to go on to up to a 10 days kind of overseas course, where we bring you to places like Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, India, China, many, many places around the region, for you to see emerging trends, meet companies, speak to them. So there are whole lot of various things that you can sign up for. Okay, this is also, again, 2 units, can be counted towards graduation. But we bring you overseas. Other things, because we are young adults, we want to be a bit more financially responsible. So the university is also prepared to guide you through this. Other stuff. Now, there are some students that we encounter that unfortunately went by university just going through the motion. They are here just to get a piece of paper. They are here just to complete their IA because it's a requirement. But I would say that nowadays, if there are still students doing that, you will kind of struggle eventually after 4 years. What are employers looking out for? Yes, technical skills, the different things they look out for. But what they want to see is, can you work with individuals of different seniority levels, all the way from the C-suites to technicians, laboratory operators, for example. Can you work with people of different technical expertise? Today, this person does maybe carbon accounting. The other person does strictly in R&D. This other person does strictly electronic, mechanical, and stuff like that, right? The kind of variety of collaborations you can do. And also, when you are under high stress, what do? Can you manage yourself in uncertain times, in stressful periods? So over here, we also have courses to support you a little bit more. Whichever you think that you'd like to build further, we have it for you. Okay, so these are courses. Then next, mentorship programs, all the way from financial aid students on special needs, females who like to go on professional development, and also NUS's NUS mentorship program, where all of these programs involve industry experts paired with you, pretty much on a one-to-one basis. And this is important because it's not just a one-off event. It is a program meant to last for a certain period of time, to build certain structure with you, craft your career plans with you, and also get advice on the next steps forward with people in the industry. Other stuff, career boosters, advanced workshops, all the way from, okay, may I just take last sem as an example. There were 18 workshops in one semester. So what do they range from? Case interviews, assessment centers, to talking about how exactly to network, what are we talking about, multi-generational. You will work with people, the millennials, you work with people from the Gen X, and I don't know who else beyond. Right? How do you even work with these people? And managing job offers and salary negotiations, right? Maybe something you want to learn as well. Down to understanding a bit more about industry, right? Real estate investments, investment banking, automotive industry, journalism, etc. We have all different types of things to support you, from advanced interviews to industry exposure to really thriving in the workforce. Because workforce is honestly quite different. Now, over here locally in engineering, we also have curated programs. So this is again just an example from last semester where we go through some of the career preparation materials and also resume clinics, for example. Career fairs. Okay, career fairs are our signature program. It is almost like a festival of sorts where we bring 200, 300 employers over 2 days to come and speak to you directly. So now we are having it, for your reference, 2 times a year. Okay? The next one is coming in October on the 8th and the 9th. Information will be sent out in due time. So this is a great opportunity to start looking at what is out there. As a year one, should you go? Yes. Answer is always yes. See what's out there, talk to people, understand how it's like, and test yourself to speak to an actual professional, an HR or a hiring manager of sorts. Now, beyond career fair, we also have specific company events. Now, NUS is a brand name, right? Employers do like us quite a bit. So we have many, many various interactions with them, and they can be found on our calendar of events. So on our website, you will see like a calendar view, different things like recruitment talks, industry talks, company visits to their sites, hackathons and competitions that companies do conduct, and also advanced workshops. Okay, one thing to caveat, now it's July, the semester has not started. So there may not be many activities now because the peak of activities follow our academic semester. Now at its highest volume, we saw 18 events in one day across all industries, across variety of stuff. So before you start to split yourself or clone yourself everywhere, you need to make a choice. And I think this ties in very nicely with what your profs have told you. In university, it's a little bit unstructured. You need to make a lot of decisions. Now you're in university. And I think this is just an example of one of it. So what are some companies that have come down? So briefly just to show you, all the way from Infineon having their supply case challenge, Eurocharm, where they open up, European companies in Singapore open up their offices for you to visit. So you do see some things like AstraZeneca, Airbus, Audi, I think, yeah. Bayer, DHL, ING's Bank, Lego, SAP, Carlsberg, Asia Pacific Brewery, various European companies. Henkel also came out to have a talk. Sistri, anyone here heard of Sistri? Great, because I didn't too. But what's the purpose of this? It's to show you that through our events, you'll get to know companies you haven't heard of. You get to know certain sectors you haven't heard of before. Now, what does Sistri do? It's an urban economics consultancy. Like, oh, there's such a thing. Didn't really know that. Just one example. TikTok, okay, need not mention more. Signpulse. What is Signpulse? Same thing, never heard of them, but they are management consultancy in the banking industry. Again, interesting subsector, a rather specialized field. MPA, Maritime Port Authority, ERA, Built Environment Sustainability Consultancy, ASEAN Career Fair in Japan, Schneider Electric having their Impact Day, HP having their Career Fair, DBS having their Technology Insight Day, and Dyson having a talk. A lot of stuff, huh? But there's more. Okay. So over here, it's just a little bit of a QR code that goes to our website on NUS CFG, right, where we do put out all sorts of information relevant to our department, but also some of the basic foundational guide to support you in your career preparation journey. So what do I mean? Right? Starting from looking out for employment opportunities. Where do you find internships, jobs, experiences? How to write an impressive resume. Now, all of you are going to write a resume, but are you going to write a good resume? Cover letters, interviews, assessment centers. How many of you heard of assessment centers? Great, because interviews are kind of getting more and more complex. It's no longer just one-on-one. Big companies, competitive companies have very interesting and exciting ways to assess you as a candidate. Right? So get to know what are these different things. And just, in general, strategizing your job search. Now, is this a lot of information in like 20 minutes? Do you all remember half of what was shared? Now, the answer is probably no, and that's fine. Because there's a main message that I'm trying to drive here. It is that if there is something you're looking out for, NUS probably has it for you to help support your career planning and career development journey. Doesn't matter if you don't quite remember this. In fact, I think after this session, they will send out a PDF deck. You will have all this information. But what it goes to show is just we need two things from you. One is you need to put your hand up to begin. And the second thing is you need to take ownership of your own career journey. Because as many as there are, okay, if let's say there's 50 people in the room, there will be 50 different career paths that you all will take. No two individuals will have the exact same path because all of you are slightly different. So how are you going to plan ahead? How are you going to manage and try to establish who you are in front of employers? All these matters. So on top of the various courses, we also have various tech tools to support you. Right? So VMOC, for example, resume writing, a little bit on interview benchmarking, Case Coach for case interviews, Graduates First. Now, I shared earlier that nowadays interviews are very creative. They play games now. They make you play games in an interview to see how you react. Other stuff, Talent Connect, I mentioned slightly earlier, it's a portal where we have for our students, internships, job opportunities. Okay, NUSWS, just to share, it is part-time job for students by NUS. Okay, can go all the way from I need event ushers for commencement, graduation ceremony, all the way to I need an AI/ML student researcher assistant. Okay, huge variety that we have this for you. And Forage is a bit of a virtual experience platform that you guys can try to get a flavor of certain different companies and different sectors. Okay. On top of every other things that I've said, we also have dedicated career advisors to support you through your journey. So career advisory sessions can be one-on-one, can be in a group, up to you, where we talk about your customized journeys, your own pathways that you're going to take. So what do people look to us for? All the way from, I don't know what I don't know, I don't know what I want to do, what can I even do, to, I thought I wanted to work in field A, but hey, somehow I don't really think that's for me, and what can I really do? So I'm just going to share a bit of an example. I had an engineering student, one of the majors that we cover. He saw us at year 4. Okay? He booked a session with me at year 4, and when I look at his resume, it's a fully tech resume. So this engineering student went and tried to be a software developer, tried to do UI, UX, tried to do web design, everything you can possibly think of in a tech resume. But he saw me at year 4 to say, honestly, I hated tech, and I hated software-related stuff. So am I doomed? Am I tied to doing something I hate? Or is there something else? So we do encounter these kind of students, right? Down to not knowing where to begin, because there's just so many things outside, right? And what is suitable for me? Common questions. But we also have, on the other side, students who ask us these type of questions. I'm interested to pursue this certain path, and I want to know, how do I best maximize my chances in getting it? What else can I do? And especially this one, the last one I want to highlight here. While I still have time, what else can be done for me to improve certain chances to get into my industry of choice or company of choice? And confidence is another big thing. I think chemical engineers are not so bad, actually. You're quite good at speaking, right? But I think there are other ways to exude confidence, especially not just on a one-on-one, but in a group setting. Nowadays, many big companies, they like to assess you by throwing you a group project, and then they will observe you from start to end. How do you work in a group? Stuff like that. So just to reintroduce again, my name is Shalin, and together with me is my colleague Hongi, and the two of us, we are career advisors for chemical engineering students, together with some of the other majors that we cover. So on the right-hand side, we see a QR code, and I'd like to invite everyone to take out your phones, scan it, because this will lead you to our Telegram group that we manage, the career advisors manage, so that we will post things like internship opportunities, job opportunities highlighted for the majors under our cover. And we also post events, workshops, and sometimes insights to what's happening outside the world. Okay. Yeah, I already showed the numbers here. But here's a little question. Okay, for your reference, every year, MOE will conduct a survey to the students who have graduated 6 months after their graduation. So in 2024, there was a survey sent out in November to ask the students who graduated in May-ish, or the year of 2024. So one of the questions is, to what extent has the following experiences prepared you to achieve your goals and aspirations? Okay, the answers vary for different things. But what I just want to highlight is that this stuff here, student clubs, your co-curriculars, your residential experience, overseas programs, industrial attachment, internships, all these, if I give you a little hint, they can appear in your resume. Beyond just your internships, your CCAs play a part. If you stay in hall, you stay in residence, the activities, the contributions, the exco positions you're going, they all play a part in shaping who you are, but also demonstrating to employers your capabilities as a valuable member of the organization. Okay? Now, even so, residential experience, it really depends. We have seen many students, they say they stay in hall, they are president of certain club, they are the lead, they are the head of certain things, but then they thought, oh, but it's not CCA. The answer is no. The answer is, if you are in hall, you take up certain activities, you are leading, you're organizing, please include in your resume, okay? So this is me telling you in advance. So with all the various things that you can do, right, we highlighted a lot about your NUS experience. Let's talk a bit about your NUS timeline. So if you are in a single degree program, you are from junior college, you have 4 years, correct? 4 years in NUS. So your timeline is basically this, 16 boxes. You have 16 boxes until graduation. Suddenly feels like, oh, okay, maybe not that much time. But so here's the question, because all NUS students are going to graduate with a degree, right? Regardless of what degree you're from and all that. So how are you going to fill in your 16 boxes so that you are able to demonstrate to employers and yourself what you stand for, what's important to you, what are the skills and values that you can bring to the organization, to any team that you join? Because all this would then differentiate you from any other applicant. So the key thing here is be intentional. We have seen reports, people like to do internship stacking. They think, okay, I just do 10 internships. I don't care, doesn't matter. I just chong, right? My grades, maybe never mind. I'm just gonna do as many internships, just get as many exposure as possible. But if you cannot demonstrate the link between the different experiences, if you cannot articulate why you took those things and how they help you, then it's gonna get challenging. Same. You're just gonna burn yourself out in the process anyway. Okay? So the key thing is be intentional. Decide what you want to take up so that you make use of the 16 boxes to tell people who you are and the value you can bring. So with that, I just want to go back a little bit to this CFG 1002. So as mentioned, this is only a 6-week class. Even more simply, this is a lesson that has only 3 face-to-face classes. The rest are just e-learning. Okay, again, it is a very simple course, intentionally designed so that you take the essence of what you learn beyond the 6 weeks, beyond university, but to propel you forward. Okay? So, pass-fail, then the registration will start next Monday. So those of you who are already in our Telegram group, very good. We will also blast a reminder, but do take it up as a quick starter for your career preparation. So if you forgot many, many things, these are just 3 points that for you to take away with. One is start thinking. You will not have an answer by the end of today, right? Quite obviously. But as long as you kickstart the thinking process, talk to people, you're on a good track. And then number 2 is to remember that NUS has many, many resources to support. It's just a matter of, are you putting up your hand and what do you want to do? And then the third one is to register for Career Catalyst when it begins. Registration next Monday. So here are just our socials. You can find us almost anywhere, CIG as a whole. And with that, I'll end my sharing, and I hope that you guys have some takeaways, and I look forward to seeing you for the rest of the 4 years. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shereen. Oops. All right. This is the last segment for the freshman welcome, and it's on course registration. So I'll try to keep it as short as possible because I know that you guys have been sitting in the, listening to talk since morning. So let's dive straight into it. All right. These are the list of courses that you'll be taking during your first semesters. This is mainly for the A-level students. Poly students may be slightly different, but most of the information is still applicable to you. So you can see there are 6 courses over here. And along with it, you can see the different number of units that they carry, as well as the hosts who are taking care of the courses. So you can see this is, for example, CM101, Chemical Engineering Principles and Practice. This is hosted by our department, and this is the mailbox that you can write to. So different courses have different hosts and different emails, all right? So to make things easy, 3 of the courses will be pre-allocated to you, as indicated here. And the other 3, you need to select it in CourseRec. So what is CourseRec? CourseRec is a platform which you register your courses, you secure your lectures and you secure your tutorials. So 3 will be pre-allocated to you. You don't need to do anything about it. And the other 3 in yellow, you need to select it in CourseRec when it starts on 21st July. All right? Okay, let's talk about workload. So the minimum number of units for full-time students is 18 units, unless you're on some medical case or some special reasons, you are supposed to take at least 18 units. This is also to ensure that you can graduate within the recommended schedule of 4 years or 3 years for poly students. For the maximum workload, you're allowed to take up to 23 units. And we put it at 23 is because this is your first semester in NUS, so you're transitioning from your JC or poly, so we don't want you to overload. So 23 is the maximum number of units you'll be taking. But for some of you who are in the special programs, such as the double degree, e-scholars program, you're allowed to take up to 27 units. Okay? Take note that for those students who are allowed to do 27 units, you may be worried when during round 1 or 2, you say, hey, how come I cannot get my the last 4 units? So you're only allowed to select for 27 units only after round 3. Okay, just to take note of it. Okay, important emails to take note of. There are 2 main emails that you need to pay attention to. The first one will come from the faculty, the College of Design and Engineering. This is the mailbox that they'll be sending out to. The subject title is like this, important announcement to all freshmen. So it contains a lot of information on the common courses and things like that. This will be sent roughly around 14 or 15 of July, so keep a lookout for it. After which, the department, we will send out another email, but the information will be more relevant to you. So keep a lookout from this mailbox, CHBE inquiries, and this is the subject title. All right, so do read the emails carefully because it contains all the important information, so take time to absorb them. Okay, talking about emails, there'll be bound to have a time where you need to reach out to us if you have questions, or you have not been pre-allocated certain things, or just run into some problems. So we would like to urge you to use your NUS email account when emailing us and include your student name and your student ID because we need that information to help us do a search on your background and things like that. Okay, and also please don't send to all the different staff and faculty members just to ask the same questions. Reach out to the relevant ones. In the first email, you can see that there's a mailbox for the respective courses you can email to. So don't go around sending to professors, deans, VITs, and everything for your questions. And also, if possible, keep all your questions in one email rather than, sending multiple emails. Yep. Okay. The next is a department intranet. This is a very useful website for you to refer to on information on graduation requirements, recommended schedule, the class timetable, etc. So you'll be granted access before the semester start. Later, I can try to show you how it looks like. So when you're outside NUS, you need to use the NVPN to access it. Okay, these are some of the useful links. For some of you who are doing other programs, other special programs like minors and all those things, you can use this website to help you plan your timetable. It is very useful. It contains all the useful things like a summary of the courses, the number of units, the timetable, when the exams are, etc. So this is a website that I think all the NUS students heavily rely on. Okay, the last two links, you can take time to read them if you want to find out more about things like grade-free curriculum structure and even course rec manuals and things like that. Okay, that's all for my slide. So once again, the fifth welcome to the department. We'll be hanging around for a while. If you have any questions, you can feel free to talk to us or chat to us about it. So thank you so much for your time.
Miss Coco, and then of course you just heard from Mr. Chun. Yeah. And then one of my colleagues is also here, Prof. Cindy. You will be seeing her together with Prof. Saif Khan in the Engineering Principles and Practices in SEM 1. Yeah. Anything that you have? Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, I managed to access our department website. So right now, you might not be able to access our student intranet because we need some time to add you to the database. So this is our department website, and you can go to the undergraduate tab and current students. Okay, so this will take you to the intranet, and under the intranet, student intranet, you'll find a lot of different very useful subfolders. For example, recommended schedules. I don't think we have uploaded the 2025 yet, but for example, your recommended schedule will be here, so you can actually click on it. This is an example for the 2024, so you can see all the different courses that that have planned out for you that you can follow too. And we also have things like graduation requirements. Okay, this is for all the different double degree programs, polytechnic. So find the relevant information over here, and we have the class timetable as well if you need to see it. All the different courses and the different tutorial groups and things like that. So I think for a start, focus on securing your courses using the course rec. I think you need to declare your program plan on the 14th of July, after which on the 21st of July, you can log into course rec, your first round 1, and start to secure your courses. Okay? So you can email us if you have any questions, or you can pop by to ask us. Thank you. All right, you guys are free to go. Enjoy the rest of the day.